Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be on a Sunday night where we come to you here live and exclusive on Top Split TV for the very first time from the great and famous Spanish track of Catalunya, of course, new to the series, new to iRacing, of course, this season is the famous Spanish track where the F1s do toddle around from time to time. But tonight it's all about the skippies, round 10 of Sunday Night Lights. I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me once again is the chaotic one, Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, big night of racing here ahead of us.
Yeah, Alex, and an excellent crop of drivers that we got here as well, including a couple of new faces. Be interesting to see what some of these guys can do, especially the seven car of James McRitchie from the UK and I Club. A new name for me at the very least. I'm not sure if he's popped into our strength of field races before, but it'd be definitely interesting to see how these drivers can handle this new track. We've had just under a week of being able to race it flat out, and my experience here has been pretty good so far, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have been feeling the same.
Yeah, McRitchie, no stranger to the skips course, but as you say, his first night out in Sunday Night Lights. So great to see James here for the big one. Some familiar faces, as we know, though, here week in, week out. Samuel Collins from ANZ is joining us once again. The Cowboy, recently minted Team Ovaltine driver Sam Devantier, but up the front, of course, we expect to see the likes of Redface Racing drivers Gourlay and O'Fray, both of whom are out here tonight after putting a dominant performance in at Road America last week. Great to see them back and hopefully on form here again tonight, Corey.
Yeah, and it's going to be very hard to put them off, especially with the way that this track is. There's the one long straightaway and a lot of slow to mid-speed corners, and I think that just speaks to how these guys are going to be able to defend quite well, especially if they can get themselves to start at the front. But you can't count out some of the other guys like Lee Anderson, who has been having an excellent run this week. We were watching the pre-race just before this, and he was there or thereabouts in the top few positions, Alex.
Yeah, the other one to watch who did take out the warm-up race this week was young Anthony Catt, his UKNI compatriot. He's had a real purple patch of form this season, and he's no slouch in these cars as he's shown. He's been there and thereabouts, as you say, throughout a couple of seasons of SNL now, but he's really staking his claim, the 4-car here tonight, to be top of the pops out here at Catalunya.
And we're starting to get some of the first laps through. It was like Luke Whitten, the first one across the line was a 2:04.493. Not a bad time for a first lap. Anthony Catt just slotting himself into second at the moment with James McRitchie in third. These guys are putting up some pretty stout times already, Alex. But with this only being the first lap, we can expect to see those times start to fall.
Tell you what, a 2:04.5 on your first lap is outstanding. Fantastic lap there from Whitten. Vascalampi showing that he's got some skills still and some pace here. Just 2.5 tenths behind him. But anyone in the 2:04s, I can tell you, in their opening lap, as we see Ben Snell just outside of that with a 2:05 dead in P5. Tell you what, the pace is on here already, Corey.
Indeed, it is. And Julian Alfray and Sasha Gourlay, as we've come to expect, 2:04.459 for the pole time. And Gourlay with a 2:04.490. Those times are absolutely incredible for first laps. And it just means that we're going to be in for a very interesting race if they can keep this pace up, Alex.
I tell you what, separated by nothing. 1 to 3, separated by 3/100ths of a second. That's outstanding. You drop to about 3 tenths before you see P4. But the top 8 drivers on their first lap, separated by less than a second. 9th, James McRitchie is the first one to crack 1 second dead just behind those guys. I tell you what, it's shaping up here. Everyone getting used to this track here, of course. But, there's a lot. I expect a bit of action here tonight as people really are still familiarising themselves with this track. By the time we hit this track next season, I imagine things will have ironed out. But these sausage curbs, as we see Anthony Catt coming up to finish his second lap. Let's just get a bit of comparison going here. 2:04.5, 2:03 by Luke Whitten, 2:03.7. That's incredible. 2:04.1 is the next time from, who was that? I had him on there for a moment there. I think it was Catt. We've got O'Fray now coming around. Catt has just stuck in there. Anderson, McRitchie, O'Fray we're riding on board with now. What can the red-face racing driver do there? Luke Whitten still sitting top of the pops. What's O'Fray got for us in store here? Is he? Oh, I tell you what, how close was he to that final apex in that last chicane there? That sausage curve is death on a stick if you hit it. But here he comes, Julian O'Fray. Can he get across? What's he done? It's a 2:03.9. He hasn't done it. It's Whitten looking to hold the pole. No, it's Gourlay. Gourlay's jagged it on the line with a 2:03.6, Corey. I tell you what, there'll be plenty in the races during the week who can't pull that during regular race time, let alone in quali. As the qualification comes to an end, I better run through the grid. Where's me button? There we go. Sunday Night Lights, of course, first time from Catalunya. We've got Sasha Gourlay for Red Face Racing taking a spectacular pole there with 2:03.6. P2 just behind him, about a tenth behind for Team Milo was Luke Whitten, leading ANZ driver, splitting the two Red Face Racing team drivers as Julian O'Fray lines up in P3. Team of Vascalampi, the car 15, don't let that fool you. He's got some pace with a 2:03.9 in P4, starting from P5 tonight. Newcomer to Sunday Night Lights, Thomas Simon there with a 2:04 dead. Ben Furhoff, second of the Team Milo drivers. Again, don't let that car number fool you. Starting from P6. Anthony Catt there from UKNI starting from P7 tonight. He's one to watch. P8, his compatriot Lee Anderson, and starting in P8. P9, the other UKNI driver here making his SNL debut, James McRitchie. P10, first of the Ovaltine drivers, the Cowboy, Sam Devantier. Kevin Henderson, stalwart of the ANZ Skippy Racing, starting from P11. P12 tonight, possibly his best qualification since cracking it for a top split run, is Team Milo's own Paul Beatty. Cracking over the page, Peter Goller starting from P13 tonight. Ben Snell, after setting a really good first lap, unable to back it up, starting from Team Milo in P. What do we go down? 14. P15 tonight, ANZ's Samuel Collins. Lucas Jarrett's in P16 tonight. Gustavo Conde from Iberia. Lone Iberian in the field, which is surprising given the location. And Miko Niemanen, your final starter in P18. Strength of field 39.74. All important track temps. Quite cold there. 18 degrees, Corey, as we wait for the clock to tick down. Got about, it's only a few seconds actually. They're starting up. They're getting ready to go. Gourlay on pole as the green flag waves, and they are away on this long run down into turn one, Corey.
I think that 18-degree track temp is definitely going to play havoc with these drivers here, Alex, because generally about 28 degrees is a perfect temperature for these tires to warm up and get grippy. So it's going to take a little bit longer for these guys to get some heat of those tires. We got some action in the background already. I shudder to think that might have been Anthony Catt, and it was, who has just pile driven the back of, I think it was Thomas Simon. I'm not quite sure on that one, but that is some absolutely unfortunate circumstances there for turn number one, Alex.
Yeah, missed the action. We'll have to go grab a replay later on as we're back up the front now, leading Gourlay out in front in the midst of a Redface Racing sandwich. You've got Luke Whitten for Team Milo. It's pretty much stations as usual as they started, with the green positions gains starting from about P5 with Ben Furhoff, the other Team Milo racer. We've still got a long... Oh, it's a bit shaky in the background as Devantia takes a bit of an excursion, and we've got the 11 car poking the nose up the inside. Ben Snell, he's already up 5 positions from where he started on the grid. The action's coming thick and fast already, Corey.
Well, one thing that Ben has an advantage over everyone else in this field, as we see Pascalampi running a little bit wide there and possibly catching himself a bit of a slowdown. Bit of a tricky spot, that one, is that Ben, being a drifter, he's used to these colder tire conditions, as we see a mistake by Sasha Gourlay as well at the front of the pack. Things are just setting off here, Alex. Everyone's a little bit loose, and it's just so hard to try and find the grip right now, especially with such low track temps.
Yeah, it's also hard to find the camera angles. I'm missing all the action at the moment. It just seems like a long snaking series of Skip Barber cars here tonight, but certainly we expect to get more of the action as we get used to these new camera angles here at this new track. Look at that, they're about 15 cars deep at the moment. One long line of skippies. I don't see anyone really dropped off the pack other than the final 3 involved in that early incident. You literally have 15 cars in a line at the end of lap 1, Corey, as we see Whitten now. I tell you what, it's almost a runway. It's that long. You could launch a plane off that front. So, loose on the entry there was Whitten, the rear of the car, going every which way but loose. And then we see Gourlay. He's very cool, calm and collected there, taking some extra track distance there so as not to kill his run. Will he look up the inside? No, Whitten going defensive on the approach into Repsol now at turn 4, and not letting this Redface crew bully him too much at this stage of the race, Corey.
Yeah, and right now, Luke, I'm pretty sure, would be trying to stop Sasha and Julian from playing the team game here, because we do know that they use tactics to try and hold position in the race. The fact that Luke is the one out in front right now is going to null that here a little bit, especially with Team Milo's Ben Furhoff just behind him. But it looks like, Alex, we might have just lost Kevin Henderson from 13th position. I'm not sure what's happened to him, but he is OUT out of this race.
Yeah, just copped a bit of a look at the pits, and he is, in fact, in the pits at the moment. He's been in there for quite some time, actually. As we jump back up the front, we've got the Redface Racing boys putting all sorts of pressure over Whitten, and I've had the experience of racing with Whitten this week, and he is lightning fast around here. The question is, can he keep it on the track ahead of some of the mounting pressure that will come from the Redface boys throughout this race, Corey?
Yeah, and the pressure that they're going to put onto him will be absolutely immense, especially since they're the ones that want to be leading from the front, as we like to say here at SNL. And right now everything seems to be just a little bit calm right now. They're not really doing too much to try and make a move, although you get so much draft off of this runway style front straight that it's almost impossible to not want to make a move going into turn one, as we can see here, Alex.
Yeah, we see Gourlay once again popping on the front of the train here as we start lap 3 of 11 here. I tell you what, my experience racing here this week, these 11 laps will literally fly by, particularly if you're in the hunt in amongst a racy pack there. As we see once again, Witten taking the title line on the exit on the approach into Repsol now. He is defending there. He lost the one position. He seems to want to stick in second at these early stages. Doesn't want to let those red-faced racing boys. Of course, we saw them working together throughout the race in Road America last week. And I was talking to Witten during the week, and he said, you know, he wished he'd put on a more exciting race. But realistically, those red-faced boys, they made those skippies very wide. They worked together very effectively, as we heard about after the race. And at the moment, Witten trying something different, not letting the two get together and team up, so to speak, Corey.
This is what I was alluding to earlier, Alex. Luke is in the best place to disrupt what could be, the red face racing dominance right now. Because with him being in between them and even him being in front of them, they can't effectively work as a team to hold off all challenges from behind. With Luke being in the middle, this could invite Ben Verhoff to come up and slot himself into the third position. And then we could possibly see a Team Milo 1-2 here by the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Verhoff really struggling to hold on to this front three, though. He is down about, he was as far as 9/10 behind this lap. Look at them avoiding that final sausage curve out of that chicane there. I tell you what, that thing is deadly. Rear suspension's broken all throughout the week. But at this stage, he's about 6.5 tenths, and he should gain a little bit potentially here. No, the front three pulling away, actually, down the straight as the draft kicks in. You see Witten make a late move to the inside. Oh, no, there's still so much to this straight left, actually. It looked late, the way he attacked the braking of the draft. Oh, he's run deep. He's run deep. This will give Gourlay the run into the turn 3 there. Yeah, and look who's coming. It's O'Fray. He's got the inside run now, and it looks like Witten, after going a little bit too deep into turn 1, he's no longer going to be the Milo in the red-faced sandwich, Corey, as they come down into Repsol now. He's hung out to dry, but can he, going into turn 5 now, this tight left-hander on the approach now, can he hold on to it? Looks like he can, but again, Verhoff now right in the mix. And just behind him, Anderson looking to get a taste as well.
And we just saw Sasha Gourlay going very wide on the exit of turn 5 there as they're heading down to turn 6. Possibly just going very deep there to try and hold on to that first position from Luke Witten. But it just shows that one small mistake like that from Luke and his entire plans to disrupt the Red Face Racing boys could come to be a little bit ruined there. But these guys coming across the top there onto this secondary back straight, it's very easy to get a slowdown, as we saw a big dive by Julian Alfred, contact, and he's actually, the droids have just fixed his nose, so it might not have really been a contact, but it looked very, very close there, Alex.
Very deep under braking there, as you say. As we jump back now, the classic Ovaltine Milo battle has just been broken up. Devantier must have made a mistake, because I was about to jump to the Milo Ovaltine battle, but Snell now looking to try and bridge the gap to make this a 6-car battle. And if those guys keep fighting up front the way they were, he may join them soon enough. But just behind that, you've got Vascalampi, who's about 3 seconds off Snell. Goller, who's right in behind him, also wearing a Team Ovaltine. Oh, no, car 12, I beg your pardon. It's Devantier now looking to get the move done into turn 1. And see if he can't rest himself back on the tailpipe of Team Vascalampi. As we jump back up front now, it's stations as they were previously. 5 cars out in front. Looks like Anderson and Verhoff are ready to join the party of the front 3 boys, Corey.
Well, we can only hope, Alex, because it will definitely make for some pretty interesting racing. And speaking of Vascalampi, I do know what happened to Kevin Henderson earlier. Coming out on the exit of turn 5, he had side-to-side contact with Vascalampi, and he ended up rolling back into the fence on the other side of the sand trap. So that's what happened to Kevin earlier. He's back on track now, and he's actually about 39 seconds in front of these leading group. But these guys, as you said, holding station right now. I honestly expected Luke to maybe look at making a move into turn one, but it looks like he thought better of it. Whether he was just trying to stay behind and just capture the draft a little bit, just reset his mind. As we see Gorley going very wide there in the top turn. That's a very risky place to run wide. Very easy to get a slowdown there, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely is. You want the car to drift out, but it's a very fine line, as you say, between super fast and super slow down. So these guys now coming through the closing stages once again as they exit through 12, now on the run down into 13, and this final very, very challenging chicane at 14:15. Now, the curbs here are all the talk of the Skippy community. The sausage curbs there, they are deadly all throughout. The guys have been testing the limits all throughout the week, finding which curbs give you pace and which curbs give you a trip to the garage as they Luke Witten once again looking to tuck up. And here we go. We've got Gourlay taking a defensive line for the first time into turn one. And again, now what will O'Fray do? O'Fray's actually backing off, I should say. I thought they might attack through there, but they really are looking to almost drop Anderson and make this a four-car battle. It's part of the strategy of these races where the draft is so strong, Corey, is how to go fast, how to keep the position that you want, and potentially thin out the herd, so to speak, in the front pack.
Well, the last thing that the Red Face Racing boys need when they're battling for position like this is more people in the battle. So anything they can do to try and drop everyone else is what they're going to look at doing. But it looks like they got the advantage right now. Both of them down the inside of Luke Witten for turn number 5. And it looks like Gourlay managed to get through, but Alfred just not managing to get through. Maybe just holding back, saving his cards for later on, not putting them all on the table just yet, Alex.
No, absolutely. I tell you what, we got Redface and Milo going toe-to-toe here with the UK and Eyes Anderson thrown into the mix. What a classic battle this is turning out to be. And I'll tell you what, in previous weeks, we've seen the Redface boys work to get one or both of them away, and they've been able to drive away. But I tell you what, with the pace that I've seen from Witten this week, I don't expect that to happen. In fact, even if there is a small gap that comes about, I reckon he could bridge it. He's got that much toe around here. So the question is, now that the tyres are nice and warm as we're coming to the tail end of lap 6, can he keep it on the track and really make a ding-dong battle of this one to the closing stages, Corey?
Well, as we alluded to before, Alex, especially in this final chicane going to the final corner section, those sausage curbs are deadly. Those two sausages on the inside of the curbs in the chicane, you can quite easily damage your suspension if you hit one of them just slightly wrong. And like sometimes you can roll over it fine 9 times out of 10, but that one time that you hit it and you just trip over it wrong, you'll end up with broken suspension and you'll lose about 10k an hour by the end of the straightaway. As we see Gourlay going very defensive into turn 1, holding off Luke Winton this time, and Luke managing to slot himself back in front of Julian Alfred as Ben Furhoff looking to try and make his way around Julian somehow, some way, not able to get it done. Luke going defensive as they come out of what I'm going to call the Parabolica turn 3, as carousels are to American tracks, Parabolicas are to the European tracks here, Alex.
Nice one. Oh, as we see Furhoff have a poke up the inside. No, he's not. He's going to go back in the line at turn 5, although he did force O'Fray to go somewhat defensive there and compromise his exit speed. And what are they going to make of that? Not a lot at this stage. But I tell you what, we're back to having a classic Milo and Ovaltine Milo battle. No, I misread the numbers there. They're 3 seconds apart there. We've got Devantia and Vascalampi in the throes of a battle with Golla further down for 7th, 8th and 9th. Snell running the same pace as the leaders in P6. But that just means you can't bridge the gap, unfortunately. Riding in no man's land at the moment in 6th, as we said. Going back down the field, they're all a bit spread out as Jarrett's in 10th, Niemanen in 11th, Beatty sitting in P12 there. They're all that little bit spread out, Corey. It's really up the front where all the action is.
Yeah, and this is where it goes to show that this is quite the driver's track here, Alex. Because yes, you do get the big long draft along the front straight, but the rest of the track, you can't really take advantage of the draft. I mean, there is some, medium speed corners, but the draft just isn't enough to really make anything of that. As we see everyone going to the inside to get defensive or to get the draft. Luke looking for another move around the outside, hoping to get clear of Gole into turn one. Can he do it? He runs wide to give the room. He's got the inside for turn two. Almost contact on the exit of turn two, but he's got the position for now. Has to still leave the space. Gole going through the parabolica. These guys are putting everything on the table already, Alex, and we're only on lap 8.
Yeah, absolutely. The racing there is hard and fast, as they say in the classics. Oh, as we see now, Gole going up the inside, 2x2 they go. Redface, Milo, Furhoff now having a look up the inside of 5. Will he go through with it this time? No, he pops back into line. I tell you what, Anderson, he's got the best seat in the house at the moment, as these guys really putting on a fantastic show.
But one thing this does do, Alex, is with these guys fighting like this is actually inviting Ben Snell to catch up to them a little bit. He's only 3 seconds back from Alfrey at the moment. And he's definitely looking at pacey by himself, not getting checked up from racing hard. And these guys, the more they battle, the more they're going to invite that third Milo car to join this rank of the battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we've got O'Fray looking up the inside. They're going to interlock wheels there, but no contact. Fantastic driving there from the two drivers of Witt. Oh, now he's hit him. He's turned him round. Both Milo cars look to have been damaged there. Anderson also looking to be carrying damage. Continuing on, Furhoff, the droids, have they fixed his car enough, as we see Anderson now limping back to the pits. Oh, how's the rejoin? It's okay. Let's go and grab a look at the replay of these guys. And oh, please, come on, replay, work properly for me. Let's try that again. Let's go back to live. Go back to the replay here. See what we can find here. As they went side by side there, you see O'Fray, he's just tried the cutback into 12 and not left the space and really just turned Witten there. And Witten has suffered the major consequences there as his teammate has then hit him. And it looked like genuine contact there. You can see the wheel of Furhoff hanging off. I'm sure it's about to get a magic repair there. It's O'Fray. He just drives off unscathed. Yeah, there we go. There's the magic repair. That's the new damage model for you folks in combination with some netcode. But what we have now is the unlikely event of the two Redface boys plus still two Milo boys, as we see Furhoff and Snell now right in amongst it. Snell really looking to take advantage of that carnage, and we're not sure still of what damage Furhoff's carrying, Corey.
Yeah, and the other unfortunate thing here, Alex, is that now our entire top four are separated by at least a second each. It's about 1.9 between Sasha and Julian, then about another 1.5 back to Furhoff, and another one after that back to Snell. So these guys are definitely all strung out again, and it's just kind of killed the racing at the front here, because we're not going to see any big drafty moves going into turn one, but we do see another dominant performance here from the Redface Racing team, albeit a little bit controversial with that contact from Julian Alfrey.
Speaking of contact, O'Fray, he's hit the sausage curbing on the outside of the final corner there, or the approach to the final corner, and you can very easily damage a car there. He was certainly bouncing along. I'll tell you what we are going to see, though, is we're going to see a Team Milo tete-a-tete for the final couple of laps here as they cross the line for the start of lap 10. Although behind we've got Devantier and Vascalampi having a go at it with Golla, and Jarrett's looking to get interested there. As we see Devanti now hold the inside line. It's going to compromise his speed through here, Corey. But Vascalampi giving all the room in the world there as Golla now puts the pressure on Vascalampi. Surely he's going to take the tight line and defend into Repsol at turn 4, you would think, as that's giving Devantia the right proper chance to get away there. And Nut pulls back in the line, and they go at it for the last couple of laps. About 1.5 to go now, as our leaders, as you say, are quite spread out. The Team Milo boys are about a second apart. I'd suggest that Snell, if he's not carrying any damage, looks pretty clean. He should be able to potentially rein in Furhoff and have a battle for the top step of the Milo podium at least, Corey.
And there's also another little bit of a battle incentive there too, Alex. Not only would it be for the top spot of the Milo podium, but also for the top running Oz and Z driver in the field as well. Something that I know that Ben really likes to get. But going back to that battle between Devantio, Vascalampi, and Golla, these guys are reinvigorated, I guess, with their battle because they're fighting now for a top 5 position, which is worth a lot more to a driver than just battling back for 6th, 7th, and 8th. So these guys now, with the unfortunate circumstances that was befalling of the front pack, probably now racing just that little bit harder, trying to get that top 5, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Cars 10, 15, and 12. Top 5 finish means a lot of points, a lot of I rating, and they'll be racing pretty hard for it. You would think of Sigola not getting the best exit, not using all the track there, but the draft will kick in shortly as we see the run down there. Devantia weaving a little bit there. That might raise the ire of the stewards at some point, but look at that rubber band effect as Golla lifts. We're on the last lap and he's lifting into the best passing opportunity on the track. Very surprising there as he runs again quite wide out of turn 2 there, through 3 now. As jumping back up the front, they're all sort of cleared out, so I won't even. I'll stay with this battle for now. Catch the leaders up as they cross the line, but looks like Devantia might have the better of this at the moment as they come into Repsol now at turn 4 on the approach down as they sweep through it cleanly. Devantia taking a little bit wider line, perhaps now breaking into turn 5, this very tight left-hander, taking all the curbing and then some on the apex there as Vascalampi picks up the incident point on the exit, tries to shorten the track distance there, Corey, and make the most of this final lap.
Well, these guys would be doing everything they can. I think Golla is just content with sitting back there in 7th. He's the 12-plated car in this race, so he'll be picking up some decent points and I rating out of this regardless. As you see, Vascalampi pushing very hard. He desperately wants that top 5 position, especially being the 15 car. I think in just a few seconds here, we'll be about having the leaders coming across the line. So I reckon Sam's going to get this top 5 here, Alex.
Yeah, jumping back up to the front. Gourlay now. He's coming through the final series corners now. Through 14, through 15 now on the approach to the final corner. And they are strung out. Snell not able to bridge that gap, and in fact will finish a couple of seconds behind his teammate in Ben Furhoff, who managed to survive that, as we see Sasha Gourlay once again for Team Redface Racing, followed by his teammate O'Fray, who I would say be short a couple of Christmas cards after that little effort. A couple of nudges through the second to last chicane there at 11 on Witten. And again, it was not Witten's night tonight, not because he couldn't keep it on track. It was because the unfortunate incidents, although they were racing incidents, I'd have to say, slight misjudgments, if anything, Corey. It took out both Witten and the competitive nature of the race at the front.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. It did kill the race that was happening at the front there, but also, speaking of not on any Christmas list, it looked like a little bit of road rage there between Vascalampi and Sam Devantia as they were crossing the line. But yeah, incredible racing for the most part there, Alex. We saw a lot of battling going on, and it looked like it was just starting to heat up when all that unfolded and unfortunately made the race for the lead. a little bit less dramatic there, but all in all, I'd say a pretty damn good race for the first time that we're racing here at Catalunya.
Yeah, just going back, check that replay of the final stages of that lap that you mentioned, Corey. As we see, yeah, they're coming out of the final corner there. Vascalampi running out to the extremity of the track. Oh, I tell you what. Sure, what was going on there? It felt like Devantia looking to cover the line, and yeah, Vascalampi still had the spot. Vascalampi had the run. I'd suggest that he probably just didn't get it done in the end, and Devantia probably final corner, final stages of the race, probably live with that if I'm honest, covering the line like that. But look, that's the way it goes in the end. Let's go finish our results here. Check them out, folks, as we wind up round 10 of season 18 of Sunday Night Lights here from Cirque de Barcelona, Catalunya. Once again, the familiar side of Redface Racing, Sasha Gourlay up on the top step of the podium. Julian Alfray, his teammate in P2 after quite an eventful race. P3, the final step on the podium, the leading ANZ and Team Milo driver, Mr. Ben Furhoff. Welcome to the podium, sir. Great to have you back. Followed closely by his teammate in Mr. Ben Snell, who was up 10 positions as officially the biggest mover and shaker of this field. Sam Devantia, leading Team Ovaltine driver here tonight in P5, just pipping as we saw the finish flying Timu Vascalampi. Car number 15 in P6. That'll be a good haul of points and I rating for Vascalampi, who's had it tough this season with injury and incident. So great to see him up the right end of the field. Peter Goller finished in P7 tonight. Lucas Jarrett's joining us for, I think, only the second time here at Sunday Night Lights in P8. Mikko Nieminen, the 17-plated car. I think he qualified quite well. No, he was actually, I thought he qualified better than that. He was up 9 spots as well to finish in P9. Luke Witten for Team Milo, the unluckiest driver out there. Unfortunately down. Still making a top 10 for Team Milo and ANZ, but not the race we were hoping for, and neither he, I'm sure. P11, Mr. Paul Beatty, the other Team Milo driver in the event. Not a bad finish for Paul. I think he got a P7 last week, so it's not quite his best finish. Lee Anderson in P12, the leading UK and I driver as we jump over the page. James McRitchie, not the SNL debut he was looking for in P13. Samuel Collins, the ANZ driver, in P14. Thomas Simon in P15. And then our retirees, led by Kevin Henderson in P16. Gustavo Conde, didn't call his name all night, actually, that I can recall. The Iberian native at his home track, finishing 4 laps down in 17th. And Anthony Catt, an unfortunate race after doing so well in the warm-up race, Corey, all the way down in 18th, and a DNF, strength of field 39.74. Ben Furhoff, I have to tell you, that is the fastest lap I've seen all week. Haven't seen a 2:02 at all this week from my observations, but fantastic lap time there, even if it was draft assisted, mate.
That is an absolutely immense lap, Alex, and I dare say that probably be right up there on the lap record list for world records at the very least. Incredible lap time. I've never seen one like that here yet either myself. And I've actually been hearing that Gustavo Conde was involved in an incident late in the race in the battle with Devantia and Vascalampi. Uh, and they were having a chance of catching up to Ben, and unfortunately could not because of whatever occurred between them.
Yeah, such a shame. All right. That is a shame for Gustavo, this sole Iberian in the field at his home track. Not the way he wanted to have that. Now, we've got a couple of interviews here ready to go. Let me just grab the right spot there. We might bring him up, Mr. Orfray.
Yeah.
Julian, welcome back to the Top Split TV commentary booth, mate. Quite an exciting race up front, but perhaps not the finish you were looking for there, albeit P2. Not perhaps a bit of a racing incident there, but not the way you necessarily wanted to arrive there.
Hello. Wow, a lot of words. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you see a ghost like me, but I was a bit far from Luke when I hit him. I was close, but not. I don't touch him, and I expected to fight with him and with Sasha too at the end, but I do some TT lap instead.
Yeah,
That's race.
yeah, that's it, mate. Look, the racing looked very exciting in the early stages. Was it fun to have such close battling?
Yeah, yeah, that was really close, and it's really hard to pass here because I don't know. It's a special track. I think you think you can, but when you try, you can't.
Yeah, it's tough. There's really only that long straight at the start, which really accentuates the drafting, and then of course perhaps into the tight hairpin at the end of the back straight. Otherwise, it's very tough work. Maybe a look up the inside of turn 4, and then from there though, you've really, without compromising speed, you've got to just race with your opponent's line astern. So fun track for the first week that we've raced here, and another 1-2 for Redface Racing. Anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go tonight?
Oh, you for the nice stream you done each week, and that's all. The others have I have my thanks the last stream.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, thanks, Julian. Great to see you on track, and thank you for joining us once again. And we look forward to seeing you again in the coming weeks.
Yeah, sure. I will be there.
There you go, Corey. That was Julian O'Fray for Redface Racing. Yeah, he felt there was a bit of netcode there. Quite possibly here, the Skippies this season with a new damage model, despite what I thought was going to be an improvement in netcode, have certainly seemed to worsen, if anything. But look pretty close from where I stood. Either way, it was a racing incident. There was no intent there. And to be honest with you, as close as those guys were racing throughout the race, it's surprised it didn't happen sooner.
And another issue with that, Alex, is that we're in what I believe to be a European server. So for us Australians, even though we're fairly close to Europe, the netcode for us is a little bit worse ping wise. And also, the track is not completely fully optimized yet, which also makes things a little bit harder. But they still put on a great show, and they were racing close and hard. And as you said, I was surprised they didn't have a crash earlier on as well. So, good racing by those guys at the front with all those issues that were going on. They still managed to put on a great show for, those 8 laps that we had with them battling it out at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the best racing going around there for that duration. Now, coming up next, we have Team Milo's Ben Snell, who was the hottest charger through the field tonight, up 10 spots from where he started after, I assume, mate, having the lap 2 jitters during quali, but quite a drive through the field there, mate.
Hi guys. Yeah, it was a interesting qualifying. As normal, I completely nailed lap 2 perfectly. I didn't have a single issue at all. And then, as I'm just watching myself get massively sideways on the broadcast, it was an interesting drive through the field. Just kept my head about me and avoided everybody dying and grabbed a couple of spots and almost got to the podium. So I'm really happy with the top 5. I really can't complain about that with the season I've been having so far.
Yeah, we welcome Ben Furhoff back to the series this season, and you guys welcomed him with open arms into Team Milo. He's grabbed bragging rights for the week with his first podium in quite some time that I can recall, and showed his pace out there tonight. I thought you might stick in the draft and give him a run for his money at the end, but he took out top of the pops for the Team Milo and Ovaltine rivalry, at least for this week, mate.
Yeah, it it's great to have Luke and Ben and all of these fast guys on board. Really putting Milo up the forefront in terms of Skippy racing and Skippy results. So it was great. I was sitting behind back in sixth when there was the big paddle of five at the front. I'm like, oh, two red face guys, two Milo guys, and Lee. I'm like, hopefully I could make it three Milo guys up at the front. And then unfortunately, as always happens to Luke, he had an issue. Whether it was a contact by ghost contact or just hard racing, unfortunately, does seem like Luke keeps coming off second best when it comes to those sort of incidents. So unfortunately, it wasn't a Milo lockout in the top five, but still a fantastic result for us either way.
Yeah, look, he certainly showed he's got the pace. I felt like he stuck it on the track too. Like he wasn't his own undoing this time round. He had a bit of help, whether, as you say, it was network or it was just a racing incident. Either way, I tell you what, they put on a show early on, and it's great to see, as you say, some of the ANZ and the Milo boys up the front. A couple of the Sam Devantia showing great pace this week for Ovaltine as well. So. Look, it's a big thumbs up from me in terms of ANZ Skippy racing and what's going on there. We seem to be going a bit stronger, which is great. Even if we can't crack it against these red-faced boys who keep leading the way. But look, great drive there tonight, mate. Great recovery. Good to see you up the pointy end once again. Anyone who'd like to give a shout out to Phil, let you go, mate.
Of course, massive shout out to you guys for putting the broadcast on. It's great to go back and watch on a Monday after work. Big shout out to all the guys rocking up this week. We had over 100 people sign up for the race, which is great to see. I think it was 6 splits or something like that. And of course, massive shout out to Russell Clark of Team Milo, our head honcho, for spurring us on and making sure there's some Milo domination.
Yeah, absolutely. Taken over. All right. Thanks, Ben. Thanks again for joining us, mate. And we'll talk to you in the coming weeks.
Cheers, guys.
There you go. Corey, Team Milo's Ben Snell, who had a pretty good run through the field after not doing the best effort in quali. I thought he might get a bit closer, but there again, those quali gremlins came out to bite him again.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate bit of Ben's qualifying efforts there, but he's consistently one of the hardest chargers getting through the field, and it's plain to see that Ben just has so much skill, but he has to waste it all on carving his way through the field. I miss the days of when we used to see him at the front and doing well from the front, but nevertheless, 3 AusNZ drivers in the top 5 is nothing to sneeze at, and they definitely earned the bragging rights over Team Ovaltine this week.
Yeah, that's right. Couple more to go now. We've got Mr. Vaskalampi joining us from Finland. Timu, great to see you back up the right end of the field, mate. I know you've had some injuries and incidents this season, but almost cracking it for the top 5 there at the end, mate. Congratulations on the result.
No, thanks. Yeah, it's been struggle, especially this week with broken wheel and all. Yeah, did you see my lap one? I got a friend with me one lap, a freaking cone, and then I had to figure out maybe if I hit the same cone again, maybe I get rid of it. Well, I got rid of it, but I also took a slowdown there. So and I had a pretty nasty front wing damage, so car wouldn't turn right after that very well. It was a struggle whole race to keep some kind of pace. And I'm sorry for some the last lap before finish line hit. I don't know what was that. It clearly wasn't. I wasn't clear of him on the right. I don't know why I thought so. And it wouldn't have made any difference anyway. but well, it's decent position. P6. It's okay with the damage and what happened lap 1 2.
Yeah, it's a shame, mate. Yeah, it's funny. The finish line's quite short here, and so the draft to pass on the line, it's not a factor here these days. So yeah, but look, great to see you back up at the right end of the field, as we say, mate. Looked like an adventurous race for yourself, carrying a passenger if nothing else is going to slow you down. But good to see you back out there, Timu. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Well, the same as always, you guys. This is great race, this SNL. and for the community you give up.
That's awesome. Thanks, Tim. We really appreciate it, mate, and we look forward to seeing you on track in the remaining weeks of the season.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, Corey, Tim Escalampi, last of the flying fins in our fielders. We've Sammy J. He's a bit absent at the moment from these big races, so hopefully we might see him again. The final team Milo driver is not racing SNL at the moment. Come back in the coming weeks, but yeah, great to see Timu back in action, mate.
Yeah, and it's great to have him in for an interview. He's so softly spoken, but his actions on track speak so much louder than his words. And I'm glad we could actually con him into coming in for an interview this week. I was giving him a little bit of curry about it throughout the week on his stream, which you can go find at twitch.tv/Zorakai. If you're in the Twitch channel chat, you can see his name popping up in there. Um, but yeah, great result for him. He hasn't been having the best of results in the season so far. So for him to be up in P6 is a pretty immense effort right now.
Yeah, great job carrying an injury as well as some hardware issues during the week. Now, let me find our final person tonight, Mr. Paul Beatty, master himself, Team Milo. Mate, how was the racing out there? Not quite the P7 of last week, but certainly up there in amongst the SNL points in the top split.
Yeah, it's nice to get some points, and I just don't have any speed at this track to speak of, but I got in the 203s, which I haven't done very much. So yeah, couple of spins, couple of slowdowns, but nothing too taxing. It was quite fun.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Look, it's been an interesting experience learning this track this week, the highs and the lows, and the enormous sausage cones that we've all come to know and love. Hopefully, I think with a few runs under the belt here next season, we might see more racing of the Ilkas as we saw up the front here for the first 9 or so laps, but more throughout the week. Whereas this week, I don't know about you, mate, but we've seen a fair bit of carnage in the opening laps.
Yeah, it's been really, it's one of those weeks where whether I've chosen to qualify or just go from the back, you still pick up loads of places because people are dying left, right, and centre on this track at the moment. Or I think people just, people just don't quite know how to race it. Not so much the top split, but it takes a while to learn where you can pass and where you can make moves and where to tuck in. And I think people are just getting to grips with it, really. But next season will be a cracker, I reckon.
Yeah, that's the way. Well, it's a lovely track for the skips. I think with a bit of fine tuning around the curbs and some of the stuff with the damage model, it'll turn out to be one of the highlights of each season that it's on the rotation. So, well, Paul, thank you for joining us here once again, both on track and in the booth. And hopefully we'll see more of that. Well, adding to the flotilla of Milo cars out there on the track in the coming weeks, mate.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Thanks for the broadcast. I'll go and watch it in bed with a cup of cocoa.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Paul. Talk to you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, Corey, Team Milo's Paul Beatty rounding out our interviews for this evening. Great to see Paul as a regular runner in the top split these days. And like I said, he's adding to the pile of green cars out there, mate.
Yeah, and he's been getting consistently better each and every single week. I mean, he is a little bit lower this week than what he was last week, but again, he's just been consistently getting better and better each and every week ever since we moved from the Monday night to the Sunday night, and he's really proven himself to be quite the little driver there, especially just sneaking into the SNL points there in P11. So things are on the up and up for Mr. Beatty, and it's going to be interesting to see what kind of a driver he can develop into in the coming seasons, especially say next week when we are heading to Sebring, which is quite the challenging track in its own right there, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Sebring, the full layout. Did a bit of a trial run on a Friday night for the Friday Night Race Club, and I tell you what, it was a lot of fun. Great side-by-side action. One of the most spectacular finishes I've had for a long time, actually. So hopefully we'll see a bit of that during the week, and certainly for the broadcast race next week. Same bat time, same bat channel right here on Top Split TV. Well, folks, that'll about do us here for the racing this week. Corey, tell the folks at home where they can find you during the week.
So you guys can find me at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. We will put up an explicit content warning for that one. I do get pretty fruity with the language. Not sure what I'm doing this week. Actually, might be doing a little bit of dirt. You can also find me over at twitch.tv/Aussie_sim_commentator for the first of the playoff races for the Output Racing League. And that should be quite the cracking race on Wednesday. And then also over on the Facebook, just today I posted all of the racing action from last night's King of the Wings at the Perth Motorplex. And I'm going to be at the Speedway again on Saturday for the Kwinana Cup. So the videos for that will be going up next Sunday as well. And don't forget, guys, the final round of V8 Supercars Esports is going to be on Tuesday as well. So make sure you tune in for that and cheer on your favorite Aussie driver.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, folks, you can find all things Top Split at what's at those places listed on your screen. This race broadcast will be posted up on the Top Split YouTube channel. The Discord server is where you'll find us doing the broadcast and the post-race interviews. Top Split podcast, both on YouTube now and on the topsplit.com website. And of course, here's where you'll find me doing my little trundles around of the odd Skippy race or two during the week. Although I think we might have the big Bathurst finale next Saturday as well, which is also happens to be in a Skippy, which I'm looking forward to for the Friday Night Race Club's King of the Mountain series. So that'll be fun, and I expect to broadcast that here as well, having although live from the cockpit at least. All right, folks. Thank you once again for joining us here, both on track and in the stream. We do really appreciate the support. All those places you see on the screen, hit the like, subscribe, thumbs up, all those things. It really helps us out. But for now, folks, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me as always is the chaotic one, Mr. Corey Steinhauser. And until next time, I will say ciao for now.